Hey highlights! So I do want to apologize for the audio in this video because one, I filmed most of these videos while I was at work because you know, I'm a hardworking, multitasking woman who cannot be bothered to refilm this video. Anyways, the second part is I do sound like Miss Fowl in some parts of this video, which is another thing. And then three, there's one state that all four of these stories have in common. So if you guys can guess what state it is, or the first person who guesses what state that all four of these stories have in common, I don't really know what to do other than like pin your comment. So that person is gonna have their comment pinned. But yeah, guess what state it is. Bye. Oh my God, there's people staring. Y'all, I'm on the second floor, but people can still see me, which is like, that's cool.
Hey guys, it's T, and today we're going to be talking about sugar babies who gave their sugar daddies a little more than sugar.
At number 1, we have Kelsey Turner. Kelsey Turner is a 25-year-old Playboy model who's accused of murdering a 71-year-old psychiatrist, Dr. Thomas Burchard of Salinas, California. Burchard's body was found in the trunk of a car on State Route 147. A man driving by called the police about the car after he noticed it had a broken window. Turner's mother, Samantha, had told KSBW that Burchard and Turner had known each other for years. Samantha said that Burchard had paid the rent on their home in Salinas, California, where Turner lived with her mother and children. An anonymous source who originally told Action News that Burchard was renting out the Salinas home said Turner moved to Las Vegas after Burchard stopped paying rent on the home. The source said that Burchard met Turner online and was giving Turner and her mother anywhere from $2,000 to $4,000 a week easily. The source told KSBW that the last thing Burchard said to him before leaving for his deadly Las Vegas trip was, "Seems Kelsey is having trouble with her boyfriend out there in Vegas because he's hitting her. He's abusing her and she has no money, nowhere to go. He says I feel partially responsible for this." According to Turner's Facebook page, she is in a relationship with Greg Haggio. I'm not really sure why Greg was brought up because even though he was her boyfriend, he's not the boyfriend that she committed the act with. Action News uncovered court documents from January that state Haggio was arrested for extortion and domestic battery in Las Vegas, but charges would ultimately be dropped in the case. Logan Kennison, Kelsey's other boyfriend, has been charged with bludgeoning to death her elderly benefactor. Logan has also denied their involvement in the murder and insisted that the victim was not his girlfriend's sugar daddy. The pair are accused of beating Burchard to death with a baseball bat before stuffing his body into the trunk of Turner's Mercedes-Benz on a desert road in rural Nevada. During the interview, Kennison maintained his and Turner's innocence, saying, "We're not monsters, we didn't do it," and instead he pointed fingers at his girlfriend's former housemate. The former housemate's name is Diana Pena. Now keep that name in mind because she will come up again. Kennison confirmed that prior to his death, Burchard had been paying for Turner's apartment, car, and bills, but denied he was her sugar daddy. "I think he was just a really good friend. He had a good heart," Logan said. Judy Earp, Burchard's fiancé and his life partner of 17 years, told Access Hollywood that she had raised concerns with him that Turner and other cash-strapped young women may have been taking advantage of him. But she said he told her, "That's okay, I can afford it." According to Earp, Burchard had given Turner some $300,000 over the year. But just before his death in March 2019, he traveled to Las Vegas to tell the former playmate that he would no longer pay for her lifestyle. On or around March 2nd, 2019, Burchard attended a party at the home of Turner and her boyfriend. Which to me makes no sense. Why would you ever go to your ex-girlfriend and her new boyfriend's house? But anyways, according to Kennison, at some point during the evening, the semi-retired child psychiatrist got into an argument with their housemate, Diana Pena. Kennison claimed that he and Turner left the home on foot out of fear that the neighbors would call the police and make a noise complaint. When asked how Burchard's decomposing corpse ended in the trunk of Turner's car, he replied, "Diana had something to do with it." In her testimony to the grand jury, Pena said that it was Kennison who chased Burchard with a baseball bat after the doctor got into an argument with Turner. Penna claimed to have seen Burchard emerge with a bruise on his head and demanded medical attention. As the victim waited in the car to be taken to the hospital, the housemaid said Kennison and Turner instructed her to clean up the blood in the apartment. Penna ultimately pleaded guilty to accessory to murder in connection with Burchard's death, but will testify against Kennison and Turner, who could get life prison if convicted. Both Kennison and Turner have pleaded not guilty to the charges against them. The ex-model is scheduled to go on trial this July. Tereza Perez. Tereza Perez, 40, is the former employee of Justin Rosen. The 79-year-old was the former owner of Rosen Novak Motors. Rosen had filed a restraining order against Perez a day before his murder. He stated in court papers that Perez was stalking him, making repeated abusive phone calls and demanding money. Their exact relationship remains unclear, but according to the court records, Rosen said that Perez delivered a packet of information to his wife of 60 years and threatened to also contact his children unless he continued providing money for her. In 1990, a judge presiding over Perez's divorce found that the woman had a below-average IQ, blamed others for her problems, harbored inconsiderable anger, and often resorted to pathological lying. At the time, Perez was married to Denver construction and real estate owner Vincent Rager, who was 41 years her senior. Clearly, Perez had a thing for older men. She and Rosen had a 39-year age gap, and her ex-husband was even older, making him 41 years older than her. Perez moved on and married Mario Perez, but their marriage also ended in divorce. He told court that his wife was trying to bankrupt him. Tereza Perez was married 3 times in a little over a 10-year period. Rosen was gunned down after he was taken at gunpoint from his home, where Perez left her rental car running. Police found a letter penned by Perez, believed to be a note. Perez had forced Rosen to drive his Ford SUV near the 2200 block of Colorado Boulevard, just west of the Denver Police Gang Unit building in City Park. There, Rosen managed to get out of the vehicle and was trying to flag down a police officer for help when he was shot. Officers then opened fire and killed Perez. Nanette Johnston. Deputy District Attorney Matt Murphy contended that Johnston was the femme fatale at the center of a love triangle who convinced her young lover, professional football player Eric Napolsky, to gun down her wealthy older live-in boyfriend Bill McLaughlin, so that she would not be detected in cheating on him, stealing from him, and so she could reap a financial windfall from his $1 million life insurance policy and his will. Murphy contended that Johnston, who was then 29, provided keys to Napolsky, who was 28, so that he could quietly sneak in through the pedestrian gate at the Balboa Cove and into McLaughlin's home near Lido Village, so that he could kill McLaughlin at a close range. McLaughlin, who had just returned from a quick trip to Las Vegas in his private plane, was shot 6 times in the torso with a 9mm gun. His son heard the guns and hurried downstairs to find his 55-year-old father in a pool of blood. The son's anguished cries for help were recorded in a 911 call for help. Johnston wanted to have McLaughlin so he wouldn't discover her affair with Napolsky and her stealing hundreds of thousands of dollars from his various bank accounts. She was also making a plan to serve as a trustee of his estate, which could have been worth millions. The pair were questioned but not arrested about the slaying in 1995, although Johnston did plead guilty in 1996 to forgery and grand theft for stealing from his accounts and was sentenced to a year in jail. The case went cold for more than a decade, until District Attorney Investigator Larry Montgomery took another look at the file beginning in 2008 and found new witnesses who provided enough additional evidence that led to murder charges being filed against Napolsky and Johnston in 2008. They had long been broken up by the time arrest warrants were issued in May 2009. Johnston was arrested in 2009 at her home in Lendra Ranch, where she was living with her third husband. Napolsky was arrested at his home in Connecticut and extradited to Orange County.
Last but not least, we have Jessica Lee. She thankfully didn't murder anyone, but once you hear what she's done, you will definitely agree that she does belong on this list.
A senior director at a NASDAQ-traded company is suing his teenage ex-girlfriend after she allegedly lied about her age exploited him for financial gain, and then threatened to ruin his life after he broke off their 7-month relationship. The Chicago business consultant, 45, who filed as John Doe, is seeking at least $1.5 million in damages from 19-year-old Jessica Lee. In addition, he has requested an emergency order of protection, and law enforcement in Illinois and Texas, where Lee is from, are involved. Even after being served the complaint, Lee continued to harass and defame his character. The pair began dating after Doe met the then 18-year-old while he had been traveling to Las Vegas for business in early 2017. Doe claims Lee's mental instability was not nearly as apparent during the course of their relationship as it was after their breakup. He had provided emotional and financial support for the teen, paying for her car insurance, grocery, and treatments, court papers reveal. Doe, who is described as a technology professional with over 20 years of consulting experience, claims he met Lee while he was going through a divorce with his wife of 10 years and was in an emotionally vulnerable state and found solace in the girl. However, months into the relationship, he says he grew suspicious after he realized Lee's story was not adding up. He discovered Lee had considerably misrepresented her age. She stated she was 25 but was only 19, and she lied about her profession. She stated she was employed by Boston Consulting Group but was actually an exotic dancer and professional sugar baby, court papers state. Doe also claimed that Lee, who is originally from Plano, Texas, had allegedly used aliases and engaged in multiple for-profit relationships, offering sexual favors to men in exchange for jewelry, clothes, and expensive trips around the world. After her lies were exposed, the document claims the teen manipulated him into taking pity on her by claiming she was a victim of struggled with and was sued. Doe eventually ended the toxic relationship in September 2017, but what followed were months of retaliation and threats from Lee, including a time where she vandalized his car, the suit states. The more often the plaintiff rejected or ignored Lee's demands, the more persuasive her threats were towards him. Lee blamed Doe for her likely or need to resort to prostitution after his heartless decision to abandon her. Doe alleges he began receiving phone calls and texts from Lee demanding money at all hours of the evening, which he ignored. The teen then allegedly resorted to threats by warning she would expose him as a cheater and according to the documents. A text message sent to Doe from Lee on October 15 stated, "You're the same guy who ducking to me and is cheating on your wife. I'll make sure everyone knows. And I'll take care of my own car insurance, groceries, and treatments. But I'll make sure everyone you know and everyone in your whole friend group knows what kind of person you really are. You can go F yourself. You are nothing but a piece of S. As every other guy. I wouldn't have done all those things if I were you." Lee proceeded to contact Doe's estranged wife by using a bogus Facebook account and disclosing private information that she learned during their relationship. She also told her that Doe had assaulted her so that his wife would have leverage in their division of marital assets in their divorce. Doe's wife filed a complaint against Lee with San Francisco Police Department. However, Lee reportedly continued with her retaliation and turned to her social media accounts to publicly shame Doe. A second message from Lee to Doe read, "You ruined your own life. I gave you fair warning what would happen if you disrespected me and threw me away." On October 16, the teen uploaded a lengthy and now deleted post detailing her abusive relationship to her 30,000 followers on Instagram. "Hey followers, just wanted to make a quick announcement to every girl and guy that follows me. For the past couple of months, I was in an abusive relationship and nobody knew about it. The people that were close to me could always see that something was bothering me and that I would cry constantly, but nobody knew what was truly wrong. For example, the second date I ever went on with this guy, I explicitly told him that sex was out of the question and simply not on the table, because he was married at the time but was going through a divorce, and also because I wanted genuine respect before committing to a guy I barely knew. Yet after telling him all of this, and all the trauma I'd already went through with other guys, he selfishly took my body that night." Lee added that her boyfriend would allegedly lash out on her physically, verbally, and call her a whore after sleeping with him. Days later, Lee, or a person believed to be acting for her, created a fake Instagram account using an abbreviation of Doe's name and followed his family and friends. Lee then posted private naked photos of Doe on the account's feed, including some depicting him undressed and exposing his genitalia. These photos were unknowingly taken during an intimate FaceTime session while the two were dating. In fact, Doe did not know that these photos existed until she used them to harass and humiliate him. Doe claims that Lee continued with her rampage by creating phony online dating profiles of him and posting a solicitation of him on Craigslist titled, "Find the man who raped my 9-year-old daughter," with his phone number. Lee also took to LinkedIn to create an account in Doe's likeness, using Doe's genitalia as the profile picture in an alleged attempt to humiliate him in the workplace. She identified his employers on the profile and wrote, "I hate working for blank. I also hate my clients. I am also very drunk," court papers read. The profile goes on to identify specific clients by name, accuse him of infidelity, and includes a personal note to a professional colleague disparaging her capabilities. The document claims that Lee created a fake profile on Tinder and OkCupid using Doe's likeness, real name, cell phone number, and other personal information. Lee identified him as a male seeking other males, and it is believed she solicited risky pictures as a persecutor to any in-person encounter. Her alleged cyberbullying continued with a Craigslist solicitation that a 45-year-old man, my 9-year-old daughter, accompanied by a $1,000 reward. Doe received 2 LifeLock alerts concerning an inquiry into his credit card information. It is believed Lee attempted to apply for a loan or credit card using Doe's name and personal information. In late November, after learning that Doe had filed for an order of protection, Lee allegedly contacted him, begging he withdraw the petition. "We live literally states apart. We'll never see each other again, so please just drop it and save yourself some money and time. I'm truly sorry for every embarrassment I've caused you. It was all my fault. Everything was my fault. I'll take the blame. All I want is for you to drop this," a text message read. But that same morning, Doe's building management office informed him his car had been vandalized. Security footage showed Lee enter the building with an unsuspecting resident that allowed her to get into the garage. Lee then punctured 3 of his 4 tires, used a sharp item to scratch all the 4 quarter panels of the vehicle, inserted super glue into the locks, and spray painted swastikas in black on several panels of his car. Shortly after, Doe hired a legal team and sent a formal notice to Lee. According to court papers, Lee has contacted Doe from untraceable phone numbers as recently as February 1st. Doe harbors a reasonable fear for his own personal safety and the safety of those around him, in light of Lee's escalating, unpredictable, and unexplainable vindictive behavior following a mere 7-month dating relationship that simply did not work out. They are also demanding a trial by jury and damages for emotional distress.
Look at my style, movement. This is what here exclusive. I be still in the toilet. Part of my music. Can't trust these niggas with loose lips. I'm gonna score with